Welcome back to day 2 of Valentine's Day dinner at home. All the heavy lifting was done yesterday, and tonight we're only putting the finishing touches on our 3-course menu. So grab a glass of wine and let's get cooking. The first thing you want to do on day 2 is take out your cake batter so it starts tempering. Now it's time to cook our meat. Here I have a bone-in ribeye with all the fat cap attached to it. It is my personal favorite part. Today, we'll be cooking this piece of meat with a method called reverse searing, which means we are going to cook it in an oven, low and slow, until the desired temperature is achieved. In this case, I'm going for medium rare. We're going to place this steak in an oven preheated to 150 degrees Fahrenheit, and it should take about an hour and a half. And once the desired internal temperature is achieved, we are going to sear this puppy in a ripping hot cast iron skillet. Now we can take care of our potatoes. Try to pull the parchment out, and it might come out, but if it doesn't, take a little offset spatula and just run it along the edge of the potatoes and try lifting the bottom a little bit. Don't be too aggressive, or the whole gratin could fall to pieces. Once you feel pretty confident that all the edges have lifted off the loaf pan, give that pan a flip and make sure you bang it onto the board. Give it a couple taps. It should come off thoroughly clean. Now remember, there's parchment on there, so you want to make sure you peel that parchment off. And all there is to do now is cut that potato gratin. Now, I know this dinner is supposed to be for 2 people, but this gratin is so damn good that you'll be thankful you have leftovers. What I like to do is trim off the edges, and then I'm going to cut this gratin into 6 equal portions. Look at those layers, that's just gorgeous. Once we portioned all of our gratin and trimmed the end pieces, we are going to cut the sides of the gratin to make sure we have very even rectangles, like that. Trim all the edges, and voila, gratin is done. Make sure you keep it in the fridge until the next step. And you may be wondering what to do with all those trimmings. To me, that looks like nothing but the perfect 3 a.m. snack. Next up, our sauce. This sauce can be done a couple hours in advance, as long as it is kept in a warm place. It can't be too hot, otherwise it will split. For this sauce, we'll be using 3 egg yolks, to which we are going to add about 3 tablespoons of white wine vinegar, and we are going to set it over a bain-marie or a double boiler set to low heat. We want the heat to be low, otherwise our egg yolks will cook. We are going to start whisking those eggs, going back and forth and back and forth. We cannot stop whisking the egg yolks, otherwise they'll curdle. What we're trying to achieve is a sabayon, or a foamy egg and vinegar mixture. And after a couple minutes of whisking, it should look pale, very light, and it should be foamy. When you pull it, you should be able to lay a ribbon on the surface of the egg yolks. And now we are going to emulsify that brown butter we made yesterday into our egg yolks. We want our butter to be lukewarm. We don't want it to be hot, and we don't want it to be cold. We're also going to need a little bit of water, salt, and lemon juice. I like to take a wet towel and wrap it around the mixing bowl. That way, I don't have to hold the mixing bowl, and I can whisk with one hand and pour butter in with the other hand. We are going to slowly start pouring our brown butter in while whisking vigorously. Again, we're trying to create an emulsion. After adding about a third of the butter, our sauce will be quite thick. We should add a little bit of water to thin it out, and then we can keep emulsifying our butter. We want the sauce to be a little bit runny and not thick as a mayo, so use that water to thin it out accordingly. Just don't thin it out too much. Remember, add butter, emulsify it, thin out if needed, add more butter until all the butter is fully emulsified. And that's it. As long as you add just enough water to thin it out, and add your butter gradually, you should be able to make a very stable, very smooth hollandaise sauce. And again, add water as needed. This sauce will thicken up a little bit as it sits. Now all there is to do is season with salt and a squirt of lemon juice. This sauce is quite rich, as all it really is butter, a little bit of vinegar, and egg yolks. So that lemon will definitely brighten it up and make it feel a little bit lighter. Finish seasoning and you're good to go. Now it's time to give our taters a little crispy edge. On a pan set to medium to high heat, pour enough vegetable oil and spread it around. Once your oil is hot enough, take 2 or 3 pieces of potato, depending on how many you're planning on eating, and lay them on one of their sides so they start browning and getting crispy. Now you can definitely move them around while they sear. And after a couple minutes of searing those potatoes, they should start getting some color and look like that. At this point, you want to flip them on another side and keep doing the same process until every single side is browned and crisp. Once you've browned all the sides of the potatoes except one, throw a couple knobs of butter in the pan to give them a little extra crisp and a little extra flavor on the last 2 sides. And if you're a little bit smarter than I am, which I'm sure you are, you would have used a non-stick pan and your potato will look like this. Crispy, brown, just fantastic. Angus would agree. You can throw the potatoes in the oven to keep them nice and warm. At this point, we're going to get our lava cake ready, so when the time comes, we can just pop them right in the oven. We're going to take some oven-safe containers and rub them with butter. You can use some ramekins, you can use some mason jars, whatever you have kicking around. And once you've brushed all the containers with butter, you're going to fill them with the cake batter about 2/3 of the way. Now, you are not going to be baking these cakes right away, but I want to make sure that while you're having dinner, you don't have to get up from the table 1,000 times to cook stuff. So we'll have everything ready. That way when the time comes, you pop them in the oven and you're good to go. So pour the batter in all the ramekins and set them aside until the time comes. And now we are going to finish the steak. Set a heavy bottom pan to medium to high heat. Again, you want this pan to be very hot. Take that steak out of the oven and make sure the temperature is where you want it at. For a medium rare, you want anywhere from 105 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, we are going to pour some oil onto our steak. We are not going to put any oil in our pan because some of the fat from the steak will render, as well as the oil that we put onto the steak will be enough for the searing. Then we are going to season this steak generously with salt and black pepper. This is a quite thick steak, so I'm going pretty hard with the salt and pepper here. And once the steak is fully seasoned, rub it around to make sure you get all the salt off that tray. Get your smoking hot pan, put your steak down and press it down just a little bit to make sure all the surface of the steak is touching the pan. 3 to 4 minutes on high heat should do the trick. We're just looking for proper caramelization on this steak because it is fully cooked. At this point, add a couple knobs of butter to the pan, a few cloves of garlic, a couple of sprigs of thyme, and we're going to start basting this steak with all that butter, which is going to brown and it's going to add so much flavor to this steak. Take a spoon and start bathing that steak in that garlic and thyme infused brown butter. Once our steak is fully seared and has a deep caramelization on both sides, it's time to take it out of the pan and resting on the cooling rack again. And now we are going to roast our broccoli in that brown butter. The broccoli has been chopped the day before, so all we have to do now is throw it in the pan, add a little bit of salt and pepper, and roast it until golden brown. And that's it. In the same pan, no more dirty dishes. Our broccoli is done, steak is done, potatoes are done, our sauce is done. All that's left to do is toss our salad. Alright, so at this point, you're probably quite hungry. Your significant other is asking at what time dinner is going to be ready. So let's get at it. In a bowl, you are going to put down your beets that have been marinating overnight. Use as much or as little as you want. I know I'm going to have leftovers because I personally love this salad. After we put our beets down, we are going to take some crumbled goat cheese and just sprinkle it on top. The reason why I don't like tossing my crumbled cheese into the salad is because I like to see white nuggets of cheese scattered throughout the salad. Then we're going to take some arugula, and all we're going to do to it is season it with a little bit of olive oil and salt. This salad is packed with flavor as it is, so you don't really need a fancy dressing for the arugula. Then you're going to twist them a little bit, just roll the arugula around, take a little bunch, put it on top of the salad, and that's it. Your salad is served. Alright, so while you eat your salad, the steak had plenty of time to rest. This is crucial for a good steak. I personally am going to serve this meal family style. So on the same cutting board that I cut the steak on, I'm going to put the potatoes that had been resting in the oven and keeping warm. I'm also going to place the roasted broccoli on that same board. And then I'm going to take that brown butter hollandaise that, just like the potatoes and the broccoli, had been resting in a warm spot, and drizzle that sauce all over the steak and potatoes. Don't be shy with that sauce. Now, while we eat our main course, turn that oven up to 400 degrees for the grand finale. This chocolate lava cake only takes about 9 to 10 minutes to bake. So while you clean up all the dishes from the main course, pop it in the oven, reset the table for your loved one, and by the time you are set to have dessert, these lava cakes will be ready. Now, these cakes will take about 8 to 10 minutes depending on your oven and the size of the vessel you used. The best way to tell if they're ready is to look at the top of the cake. It should look like it's fairly dry, but wiggly in the middle. You are going to take the cake, put a plate on it, flip it upside down, and voila, cake should... Oh wait, that's not right. Alright, let's try this again. Take an offset spatula or paring knife, run it against the side of the cooking vessel, place a plate on top of it, flip it over, and there we go. Chocolate lava cake, the perfect finish to a Valentine's Day dinner. And that's it. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to overpay. You can have a fantastic 3-course meal at home with that special someone. Comment below what you think I should make next. Like this video, subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.